And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Today we're taking a look at The Champion of the Wild. Now this was a game that when I first heard about it, I was really amused by the idea of it and interested to play it. You have a bunch of animals and you're going to argue over which animal would do best in the 20-meter dash, or which animal would do better at paintball. Would this polar bear do better, or the orangutan, or what have you? And so that's what this game was. It was one of those who would win style games, but with animals and Olympics, or stuff kind of like the Olympics. Well, let's see how it plays. Each player is going to get a card of a color that says ready to vote, and you also get some chips that show your tokens, different colors, and for the different events where you'll be giving out different place numbers for each of the events. So this is the first place token for event number 2. Each player is going to get a whole pile of chips. 3 events are going to be chosen. So the 3 different players will pick an event. You'll draw 3 cards off the top. So power event here. Do I want to do the gauntlet, where you're going to be running through a gauntlet of other animals, tree felling, or demolishing a shed? I'm going to pick one of these, and then that is the event, and we'll read through it. Animals must destroy a wooden shell, defined as knocking out parts of the ground as quickly as possible. Water run-up is available, and flying is allowed. So sometimes, and this is a timed event, and so basically you can also give some more, like it's going to happen in grassy terrain or whatever. Then maybe the next person picks a speed event, so they draw the top 3 here. 20 meter run, swim, run, a maze, or cheese rolling. So pick cheese rolling. A wheel of cheese is released down a steep hill and animals race to touch it as quickly as possible, as in Cooper's Hill cheese rolling event in the UK. No special water provisions, so you can't really use water here, and no flying allowed. So if you have a winged animal, they're probably going to have to walk. And then maybe I'll pick the technical one here. So ski jump, dig a hole, and spy mission. So I pick spy mission. Animals have 1 hour to simultaneously infiltrate a base marshaled by 10 guards, including all animal coaches. The shortest distance achieved from the gold in the central vault before detection is measured, with time taken used as a tiebreaker. Water environment is available, and flying is allowed in this particular event. The other events are endurance and team. A team, you would have a whole team of your animal. So then a certain number of cards are going to be handed out to each player, and they're going to be choosing between these cards. So I need to demolish a shed, do cheese rolling, and a spy mission. Am I going to use the common chameleon, the bald eagle, the white rhinoceros, the black garden ant, the walrus, the squirrel, the peregrine falcon, or the killer whale? I think in this case I'm going to use I would probably use the rhinoceros, because I think I got that shed. Yeah, he's probably not going to do too hot in a spy mission or cheese rolling, though. The garden ant would do great in a spy mission, but he's going to do terrible in the other 2. So you have to pick one. Once everyone picks whichever one they are, and it will tell you a little bit about them and their weight and all, then you have to explain to everybody why yours would win. You start with each event, everyone explains, then everyone will vote on them. You can't vote for your own animal, you vote for everyone else's. So if I might say, well, yours is the 5th best animal for this one. Everyone keeps these tokens. You will then do the same thing with the 2nd and 3rd event. Everyone will then take all the votes that they've gotten, reveal them, and whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. The game comes with a box here where you can keep all the tokens in the side, which sounds really cool until they're a little scary to take out because they easily fall and get all over the place. But, I mean, putting the cards in, the game is going to live or die off the artwork in this game. And the artwork on the animals here is good. It's all real. It's art pictures. They're realistic artwork. But it's the silliness of these, the 3-legged race, volleyball, Zulu-Vision song contest, break dancing. So you get to see animals doing kind of silly things, tug of war, figure skating. And so I think this art is going to have, a lot of what people enjoy about the game. Card quality itself is okay. It could be better, but the art is a lot of fun. And there's also a lot of facts and things, especially on the animals. How high is this animal? What's the length of a meerkat? The cheetah has what width? And how much does it weigh? I don't know if that sort of thing interests you. There's like trivia in this game too. The first time we played this, everyone at the table looked at me kind of like, Is that it? And I said, I must have read a rule wrong. So I went back and no. And I think the Champion of the Wild is an interesting concept. But I think it has a couple major flaws. First of all, the game is extremely limited, right? If I play a game, who would win? And there's a lot of those games out there. I think there's even one called that. Like, would Oprah Winfrey beat Gandhi in a knitting contest? Who would win? There's a lot of games out there like that. So this is an animal version of that. I don't mind, but you do kind of shrink down what can be in the game. There's only so many kinds of animals, and there's only so many different Olympic events you can have, although they kind of stretch the bounds of that by spy missions and cheese rolling. So that's fine, but this game you put out 5 decks of cards. Guess what? 2 decks aren't even getting used. Of the 3 decks that get used, you draw 3 cards and keep 1 card. There are 3 events. That's the whole game. You pick 1 animal for all 3 events. That is, I don't get it. I don't get why you couldn't have a handful of cards and then you have a bunch of events there and you say, okay, I'm going to pick an animal for each event. I'm going to send the ant out to this one. I'm going to send this guy out to this one. I'm going to send this one out to this one. And why is there only 3 events? Why is there not like 6 or 7? Why not make this a game? Because you vote. And if you're like, I see these events, yeah, I don't really I'm going to lose. I'm not going to be able to win this. And sure, you can argue. And okay, so the whole fun of the game is in the arguing. Well, yes, of course, is what happened. But unless you're going to give a machine gun to your peregrine falcon, it's probably not going to demolish the shed like the rhino is. And it's even, after a while, sometimes you're sitting there going, I can't even argue this. It's so obvious your animal's better than mine. So I like the concept of the game way more than I like the game itself. It felt like they didn't finish the game. It felt like, okay, we set up the game. We'll do a round of voting. Okay, and then what? Oh, the game's over. Now you say, well, Tom, you could just play several games in a row. Sure, you could. So why is that not in the rules? But Tom, it only takes 15 minutes this way. Yeah, but it's like eating 1 piece of cheese at a buffet. I feel like I should get a little more out of the game than that. Good artwork, funny theming, interesting ideas. But it just gelled together into yet another one of these, I need to argue and tell you something. This is a very crowded genre. There's a lot of games out there where I need to argue a point or prove this or tell a story. There's a lot of games like that. This one is very narrow. Animals and Olympic type sports. Fine. I don't mind that narrowness so much, but then when you narrow it even farther and say 3 events, 1 animal for all 3 events, that's the whole game. At that point, I'm probably going to pass and look for something that has a little more substance. For me, this one is a cooler idea before I played it. Dice Tower Judgment, there's just not much of a game here.